Imperial family. Immortal Emperor. Imperial decree. The Imperial decree of the Immortal Emperor is incredibly rare, appearing only once every tens of thousands of years. But whenever it does appear, it represents the irrefutable and supreme authority of the Immortal Emperor, residing far in the Central Plains. To say it embodies the might of heaven is no exaggeration. On the immortal firmament continent, the Immortal Emperor, bearing the bloodline of the immortal progenitor, is the supreme existence of the entire immortal clan. Though he only leads the immortal clan in name, no sect, faction, or continent can resist his will. Due to his bloodline, for countless years, the Immortal Emperor has symbolized the immortal clan, an emperor in name and a symbol of the clan. Unless one desires to rebel against the immortals, the moment the imperial decree arrives, all continents must obey. What makes this generation of Immortal Emperor even more formidable is that he is one of the 9 sons, possessing incredible power. Coupled with his status, his imperial authority has reached unprecedented heights in this era. Greetings, Immortal Emperor. A chorus of cultivators bowed and clasped their fists in respect, whether from the Dao Demon sect, Venom Demon sect, or Unity sect. Regardless of their cultivation levels, they all offered a deep bow, their respect heartfelt and sincere. The golden figure in the sky was not the Immortal Emperor himself, but with the imperial decree in hand, he became the very embodiment of the Immortal Emperor. Among the immortals, the rule set by the immortal progenitor was that when meeting the emperor, one should bow only once, not kneel, as cultivating immortality is a struggle against the heavens, not to be reduced to simple subservience. The Immortal Emperor's bloodline governs with a hands-off approach, intervening only in matters of great importance. This is in accordance with the will of the immortal progenitor, for the immortal clan must not be shackled. Any attempt to constrain them would be deemed unworthy of ascension. Thus, even the 4 great heavenly venerables of the immortal clan show respect for the Immortal Emperor's bloodline. As the cultivators of the Unity sect bowed to the imperial decree, the golden figure in the sky looked down, his gaze like a divine force. 3 imperial decrees, one here, one at the Great Soul sect, and the last at the Dao Demon sect on Green Devil continent. With a flick of his right hand, golden light flashed again. A mysterious imperial decree, seemingly forged from an unknown material, was unfolded in his hands. Bloodline of the immortal progenitor, passed down to this day, the immortal clan citizens of Heavenly Bull continent and Green Devil continent, cease all hostilities immediately. Yunifeng, Tangjia, Bianyun, Zhouhai, Zhaodongqing. You 8 are hereby summoned to the palace and the ancestral temple for trials. The golden figure spoke slowly, but each word was like thunder, resounding in all directions. The 8 cultivators whose names were called felt their hearts stir with excitement. These were the most prominent figures in the ongoing war, and now, they were part of the Unity sect. As the decree spread, the patriarch of the Unity sect let out a deep sigh, his lips curling into a smile. This war, though seemingly complex, was actually quite simple. Both sides were vying to showcase the brightest new generation of cultivators to capture the Immortal Emperor's attention and enter the ancestral temple. The smile wasn't just on the Unity sect patriarch's face. Even the Void Tribulation Supremes from the Green Devil continent outside nodded and clasped their fists, bowing once more. We obey the Immortal Emperor's decree. With another wave of his right hand, the Golden Imperial Decree turned into a beam of golden light and shot toward the ground, finally hovering in front of the Unity sect's gates, emitting a gentle golden glow. After completing this task, the golden figure said no more. With a flicker, he vanished from the sky, and the golden radiance gradually faded, returning the sky to its usual state. At nearly the same moment, outside the Great Soul sect, where the battle was at its fiercest, the sky suddenly blazed with golden light. A second golden figure materialized. The same scene unfolded at the Great Soul sect. After the cultivators bowed, the imperial decree echoed the first, but this time, the 8 names were replaced with Yun Yifeng and others. As the golden figure departed and the imperial decree hovered in the air over the Great Soul sect, all fell silent. Azure Ox Patriarch looked up at the fading golden light in the sky, his expression filled with complexity. He sighed softly. Too many cultivators had died in this war between the two continents. But such sacrifices were necessary for the opportunity that lay ahead, the chance to enter the ancestral temple. The prophecy left by the old patriarch. While not entirely accurate, it is largely correct. But I didn't reveal all the cause and effect to Wang Lin. Azure Ox Patriarch shook his head and sighed before turning to retreat into his seclusion. This war, which had lasted more than 100 years, came to an end with these two imperial decrees. Green Devil Continent's cultivators began to withdraw, returning home in droves. Though many had died on Heavenly Bull Continent, far more perished on Green Devil Continent. On the Green Devil Continent, inside the Dao Demon sect, the surrounding ceiling formations rapidly contracted. Anyone from the Dao Demon sect who touched them died with a horrific wail. Even the sect's buildings were crushed and destroyed, turning into rubble. In less than 30 breaths of time, this circular ceiling formation destroyed everything. After slaughtering all the cultivators, it condensed beneath Wang Lin's feet in midair, around the edges of the lake. At the same time, the nearly 30,000 dead cultivators mostly had their soul essences destroyed. Only the soul essences of a few powerful individuals were trapped within the ceiling formation. These soul essences flew out together, heading straight for Wang Lin. With a single grab, Wang Lin collected them into his hands. To Wang Lin, soul essences were crucial for his cultivation of the swift god art. At this moment, he only had one divine vein. If he could devour more soul essences, it would not only increase his divine vein, but also make his casting speed incredibly fast. The two powerful void tribulation experts who had previously died, one had his soul essence destroyed, while the other had his soul essence burned to death. Wang Lin did not collect. The main reason was that Wang Lin wanted to assess his current cultivation level and understand his progress. In such a state, if he were concerned about protecting soul essences to collect them, it would hinder his ability to gauge his cultivation accurately. Moreover, in the future, if he wished to obtain more void tribulation soul essences, it would not be difficult. However, these few powerful individuals' soul essences were a different case. Wang Lin had no hesitation in collecting them. With a wave of his sleeve, their soul essences were stored in his storage space. Wang Lin was unaware of the events occurring in the Heavenly Bull Continent. At this moment, his gaze was fixed on the lake below. The sounds of death from the surrounding cultivators had all vanished, replaced by an eerie silence. The Dao Demon sect is destroyed. Everyone is dead. Even if some still remain on the Heavenly Bull Continent, you are still not coming out. Wang Lin's voice was cold as his right hand raised and suddenly swept towards the lake below. In that instant, the circular ceiling formation around the lake burst with blinding light. It was followed by a series of tremendous booms, and the formation rapidly contracted towards the lake. The lake water surged in response to the formation's contraction, and thick mist spread outward. To the naked eye, the lake was visibly collapsing and disintegrating. The ceiling formation carried immense destructive power. As it condensed, the lake water vanished, and the lake itself began to collapse, leaving only swirling light heading towards the central island of the lake. Just as the ceiling formation shrank to half of the lake's size, a deafening roar rang out from within the lake. In the midst of the roar, a deep blue sea dragon suddenly burst forth from the lake. This sea dragon was enormous, its body covered in blue scales, stretching over 10,000 feet long. In the immortal firmament continent, sea dragons were considered immortal beasts. Though its appearance was ferocious, it radiated an incredibly dense immortal aura. This sea dragon had clearly existed for a long time. Its massive head, with a dragon-like shape but somewhat different, was lined with rows of spiky spines along its back, making it look utterly terrifying. Though this dragon had no claws and looked like a giant serpent, it possessed power that rivaled that of a true dragon. Its body, though appearing slender, was actually as thick as a white yard in circumference. Its head, apart from the rows of sharp spines on its back, also featured two massive fins, spreading out like wings, connecting to its body. As the sea dragon leaped, water poured from the gaps between its scales, splashing into the lake, causing the water level to drop significantly. Roar! In the instant it appeared, The sea dragon's huge head with dark red eyes locked onto Wang Lin. With a deafening roar, it revealed 4 eyes, astonishing Wang Lin. Sea dragons were supposed to live in the ocean, yet this one resided in the lake. As it appeared, an overwhelming pressure emanated from its body, enveloping everything around it. At that moment, the collapsing island in the lake radiated a yellowish light, forming a protective barrier to shield the island from the formation's attack. Immediately after, the sea dragon moved again, its enormous head opening wide, its blood-red maw gaping, reeking of a strong, fishy smell as it lunged at Wang Lin, ready to devour him. Its spiky back spine stood erect, gleaming coldly in the sunlight. This sea dragon possessed the cultivation of a peak, void, tribulation, golden venerable. It had followed the heavenly venerable ancestor of the Dao demon sect for many years. When the ancestor departed many years ago, the sea dragon was left behind to guard the Dao demon sect. The heavenly venerable ancestor was confident that with the sea dragon and the sect's power, Dao demon sect could remain safe for countless years. The sea dragon roared, charging towards Wang Lin. At the moment it was about to collide with him, inside the island surrounded by the yellowish light screen, the patriarch of the Dao demon sect raised his head, his eyes fixed on the sky above. His gaze easily pierced through this closed-off place, seeing everything that transpired in the outside world. This sea dragon was left by the ancestor long ago. Even if I wanted to kill it, it would take considerable effort, and it's very likely that I wouldn't be able to face it. Although Wang Lin killed Elder Feng before, that Feng was only a temporary golden venerable gained by sacrificing his life, which is vastly different from true golden venerable cultivation. He could kill Feng, but to deal with this sea dragon left by the ancestor, that's not something that can be achieved in a short time. With this sea dragon delaying him, the ancestor will definitely receive the news. At this moment, the Dao demon sect patriarch dared not go outside. However, his heart was filled with an immense hatred towards Wang Lin, to the point where he wished he could devour Wang Lin's flesh and blood. As he gritted his teeth and murmured, suddenly, the patriarch's right hand trembled. He quickly looked down at it, and immediately, a mass of green energy appeared in his hand. The green energy quickly transformed into 7 threads, heading straight for the patriarch's 7 orifices, rapidly entering his body. The patriarch of the Dao demon sect shuddered, his eyes immediately closing. But almost instantaneously, they snapped open again, revealing a look of wild joy. He burst into laughter. It's done. The Immortal Emperor has indeed issued the Imperial decree. 3 Imperial decrees, and 1 even entered the Dao demon sect. This decree is certainly for me. The Dao demon sect patriarch laughed uncontrollably, his face unable to hide his excitement. Wang Lin, you want to kill me? You want to destroy the Dao demon sect's heritage? Now, with the ancestor coming at any moment, once the ancestor arrives, you'll certainly die? And that Imperial decree is almost here. Once it arrives, with the Imperial envoy in front, how will you kill me? If you kill me, it means you've killed the bearer of the decree, and that's a great sin. As his joy intensified, outside the yellowish light screen, the sea dragon roared as it sped towards Wang Lin. Its massive body emitted an overwhelming pressure. This pressure was so immense that it could shake the heavens and earth, making anyone below the golden venerable level tremble, unwilling to engage in battle. As the roar grew louder, the terrifying sound echoed, like a force so great that it could make anyone quake in fear. Wang Lin's expression was cold as he stared at the rapidly approaching sea dragon. He had never seen this beast before, yet he could clearly feel the terrifying aura emanating from within it. It was the power of a golden venerable's cultivation, making the sea dragon's approach change the very colors of the sky. The once clear sky instantly turned dark and gloomy, resembling a dusk shrouded in storm clouds. A beast of golden venerable cultivation. Wang Lin's eyes suddenly flickered, and a torrent of battle intent exploded from within him. At this moment, his cultivation erupted with a deafening roar. He held nothing back. This was the first time he had fully unleashed his cultivation power after gaining the fortuitous chance in the Green Demon Scorpion Temple. The full force of his Dao ancient body spread out, and his void tribulation cultivation was entirely released. Except for not donning the soul armor, This was Wang Lin's most peak moment in nearly 3,000 years. His white hair suddenly lengthened at an observable rate, growing several times longer, even surpassing his body length. It cascaded downward in the air, matching his white robe and giving him an ethereal appearance, as though surrounded by a cool, white aura. As his white hair flowed downward, Wang Lin raised his right hand suddenly, pointing toward the oncoming sea dragon. Remnant night. The heavens and earth rumbled, and the sky around them immediately shifted, transforming into a vast and raging sea. The ocean roared as the sky turned black. In the black sky, a dazzling sun rose, releasing brilliant light. Under its rays, the sea dragon froze, its eyes wide with shock. It could clearly feel the terrifying power emanating from this cultivator, who had invoked a divine technique that instilled fear in it, reminiscent of the time it was weak and terrified before the might of the heavens and earth. Within the blazing sun, Wang Lin's figure appeared, walking step by step from within the light. The powerful aura of belief emanated from him, covering all directions. This power of belief enveloped the sea dragon, causing its body to tremble violently. It let out a tragic shriek, refusing to advance and instead retreating wildly. Despite possessing the cultivation power equivalent to a golden venerable, the sea dragon, under the influence of this divine technique, could vividly sense its own impending death. No matter how much it retreated, it could not escape the encroaching blackness, nor could it avoid the force that tore through the darkness. The light of the blazing sun spread out, causing the blackness to crumble in layers as it descended upon the sea dragon, seemingly intending to rip both it and the darkness apart. The impression of death enveloped the sea dragon's entire body. It trembled, its roar growing more and more anguished. Intense pain suddenly surged through every part of its body. The power that tore through the darkness seemed to be collapsing its form. Even its powerful body, comparable to a golden venerable's cultivation, could not withstand this immense pain. Its cries now carried fear and despair, as it felt trapped in an inescapable nightmare, unable to even open its eyes. Surrender, or be destroyed. At the moment its body was about to shatter under the excruciating pain, as waves of agony overwhelmed it, bringing it closer to death, a mighty and authoritative voice reverberated through the world. The moment the voice echoed, the sea dragon struggled to open its eyes, which were pierced by blinding light. It looked at Wang Lin, who was walking toward it, and at the blazing sun behind him. Suddenly, an illusion formed in its mind. Grand Heavenly Venerable, the sun behind Wang Lin, in the sea dragon's vision, was unmistakably the sun itself, the 10th sun of the immortal firmament continent. The figure beneath that sun, the overwhelming power of belief, was none other than the Grand Heavenly Venerable. Its former master, the patriarch of the Dao demon sect, was but a heavenly supreme, yet at this moment, in the sea dragon's eyes, Wang Lin was unmistakably the Grand Heavenly Venerable. This illusion left it dazed. It had never bowed to anyone, not even to death. It had its pride, but in this moment, with a shudder of its body, it no longer hesitated and lowered itself completely. Surrender. As the divine thought left its mind, the mark of its former master inside its body shattered. For an immortal beast at the level of Golden Venerable, no ordinary means could control it. To make it submit required an immense power. Such a beast, outside the Grand Heavenly Venerable, could not be enslaved by ordinary people. Only an equal relationship could be established. This dragon had once shared such a bond with its previous master. But in this moment, as it surrendered, a green soul energy radiated from the center of the sea dragon's brow, heading straight for Wang Lin, who grasped it firmly in his hand. This soul energy, which even the dragon's former master could not obtain, was now willingly given to Wang Lin. To grasp the soul energy was to control its very life and death. The moment Wang Lin took hold of the soul energy, all the darkness in the world dissipated. The surrounding sea, the blazing sun, everything vanished, returning to its original state. The land remained as the ruins of the Dao demon sect, and the sky was still a clear, cloudless expanse. But within the yellowish light barrier on the ground, the patriarch of the Dao demon sect, upon witnessing this scene, had an expression of disbelief. His entire body trembled in shock. No. Impossible. This sea dragon belongs to the ancestor. It actually surrendered to Wang Lin. The patriarch's face was filled with terror, his eyes wide in fear. He was shocked, not only by the sea dragon's submission, but also by Wang Lin's use of the remnant night art just moments ago after releasing all his cultivation. Divine message art. That was the divine message art. He had thought the sea dragon might buy him some time, but never imagined that, in a mere few moments, the world would flip. Wang Lin had used the divine message art, and the sea dragon had chosen to submit. An overwhelming, boundless fear instantly engulfed the Dao demon sect patriarch's mind. Without thinking, he bit his tongue, spitting out blood. His blood turned into a mist, spreading through the yellowish light barrier, desperately strengthening its resistance. I can't let him in. I'm no match for him. I can't let him in. Time. I need more time. The ancestor should be arriving soon. The Imperial decree will be here even sooner. Time. I need time. The Dao demon sect patriarch was nearly frantic, his hands forming seals, continuously imprinting them into the barrier surrounding the island. As the barrier flickered, rapidly reinforcing, Wang Lin took a step forward. The sea dragon followed closely behind, its gaze toward Wang Lin filled with awe. Approaching the light barrier, Wang Lin's right fist was clenched. Without a word, he suddenly raised his hand and, with his eyes flashing coldly, struck out with a punch. Boom, 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 boom. The light barrier, constantly reinforced by the Dao demon sect patriarch, could only offer a brief resistance before shattering into countless fragments. The buildings within the island collapsed, revealing the patriarch of the Dao demon sect, sitting cross-legged, nearly on the verge of having his soul scatter in despair. Wang Lin looked coldly at the Dao demon sect patriarch. Without pausing, he moved forward, throwing another punch. The patriarch frantically retreated, his hands desperately forming seals to resist, but with a tremor in his body, he coughed up blood, his face twisted with pain, heavily wounded as he staggered back. Wang Lin, you dare kill me. I, the patriarch of the Dao demon sect, possess the cultivation of a heavenly supreme. If you kill me, you will not die a good death. Wang Lin did not speak. As he stepped forward, he raised his right hand, preparing to strike once more with a punch. At that moment, suddenly, in the distant sky, a beam of golden light shot across at an indescribable speed, instantly enveloping the heavens and earth. Within that golden light, there was a golden figure. Imperial envoy. Imperial envoy. The Imperial decree has arrived. Wang Lin, let's see how you kill me now. You dare defy the decree. The patriarch of the Dao demon sect, who had already given up hope, suddenly became agitated. Dao demon sect, receive the decree. As those words left his mouth, the Dao demon sect patriarch's eyes revealed indescribable excitement and joy. His body, retreating, suddenly halted. He clasped his hands in a salute and bowed to the sky. Just as he was about to speak, the excitement on his face shattered in an instant, replaced by sheer terror. Because Wang Lin did not even glance at the golden light in the sky, nor did he pay any attention to the transmission of the Imperial decree. Instead, without pausing his steps, he charged straight toward the Dao demon sect patriarch, raising his right hand to deliver another punch. With a resounding boom, the punch unleashed a tremendous shockwave, shaking the heavens and the earth, and exploding with the full force of Wang Lin's cultivation, forming a power that stunned golden venerable experts. Under the Imperial decree, to kill, the Dao demon sect patriarch's mind trembled, and he retreated wildly, using hand seals to activate his cultivation, transforming into two colossal shadowy figures of Dao demon, circling around him and desperately resisting. The thunderous sounds reverberated once more, as Wang Lin's punch shattered the two Dao demon avatars, destroying the demon lord's body, and struck directly at the Dao demon sect patriarch's front. The Dao demon sect patriarch's body trembled, and he spat out a mouthful of blood, suffering even worse injuries. His body rolled back, his face filled with terror. Thunder and lightning burst from his body, forming countless thunder orbs that shot toward Wang Lin. Meanwhile, the golden figure in the sky, now surrounded by golden light, suddenly looked down with cold eyes, holding the Imperial decree. A deep, authoritative voice rang out. How dare you kill under the imperial decree of the royal family? You have some nerve. Step back now. Wang Lin completely ignored the golden figure. His eyes flashed with murderous intent as he took another step toward the heavily wounded Dao demon sect patriarch, ignoring the thunder orbs rushing toward him. I, Wang Lin, will kill anyone I choose, and no one here can save you. Wang Lin's body swayed, and with a swift motion, his right fist was launched for the third time. A loud boom echoed, and all the incoming thunder orbs shattered. Despite the Dao demon sect patriarch's golden venerable cultivation, he still let out a shrill scream as the third punch struck. Blood spurted from his mouth, his body rolled back, and he immediately crumpled, his face contorted with terror, like a raging storm. With the imperial decree of the royal family in the sky, if you kill me, you will undoubtedly die as well. The Dao demon sect patriarch's expression was desperate as he staggered backward, blood mist erupting from his body. The residual shockwave of Wang Lin's punch struck him, and his energy seemed to drain away. His cultivation was no match for Wang Lin. You kill in defiance of the imperial decree. How arrogant. As the imperial envoy of the royal family, I declare the will of the immortal emperor. If you don't step back, this is defying the decree. The golden figure immediately roared in response, and in a flash, shot toward Wang Lin with a burst of golden light. As it charged forward, a wave of golden light surged from the figure, forming a golden barrier that rapidly covered the space around Wang Lin. The golden barrier radiated an intense aura of immortal qi, and an overwhelming presence approached in an instant. This scene, witnessed by the Dao demon sect patriarch, made him grab at what seemed like a last straw of survival. His expression twisted in desperation as his hands formed seals, and a vortex appeared on his forehead. From within, 9 black flying knives shot out, howling as they headed directly for Wang Lin. Get out of my way. Wang Lin's eyes flashed coldly as he suddenly turned around and yelled at the approaching imperial envoy. His right hand struck backward with a sudden, forceful swipe. With a thunderous roar, a massive handprint appeared from Wang Lin's palm, its force shaking the very heavens. It charged directly at the imperial envoy's golden barrier. As the mighty handprint collided with the golden barrier, the barrier shattered in an instant, and the enormous palm slammed into the imperial envoy's chest. With an earth-shaking crash, the imperial envoy coughed up blood and was sent reeling back, retreating several hundred meters before barely stopping. He coughed up more blood, his face filled with horror. His gaze toward Wang Lin showed disbelief. Heavenly Supreme Cultivation. With one palm, Wang Lin sent the imperial envoy flying. He flicked his sleeve, and his entire cultivation erupted. A black hurricane burst from his body, clashing with the 9 black flying knives heading toward him. In a series of explosive sounds, all 9 flying knives shattered. Wang Lin took a step forward, appearing beside the patriarch of the Dao demon sect in an instant. As the patriarch's pupils were overtaken by fear, Wang Lin's right fist struck his chest. With a deafening boom, the patriarch's expression darkened, and his body was enveloped by a deathly aura. As his body was flung backward, Wang Lin flashed like an arrow, chasing after him and delivering another devastating punch. Scenes from over a century ago flashed in Wang Lin's mind. The beheadings outside Meng Earth continent, the desperate state of his heart back then, and the fate that he could not escape. All of it resurfaced with every punch. Die! Wang Lin roared as he struck. The Dao demon sect patriarch's body suddenly collapsed, and his divine soul screamed in anguish as it rapidly retreated from the disintegrating flesh. Over the past 100 years, memories of the Green Demon Scorpion Temple and the fate Wang Lin had earned through his perseverance flashed in his mind. His eyes glinted with killing intent, and this time, he didn't swing his arm. Instead, he opened his mouth wide and lunged at the fleeing patriarch. As he swallowed, a vast pulling force spread out, dragging the Dao demon sect patriarch's divine soul closer, and it emitted a final, desperate scream. Ancestor, save me! Messenger, save me! The royal envoy holding the imperial decree in the sky quickly changed expression, gritting his teeth as he charged forward, intent on stopping Wang Lin from devouring the patriarch. Wang Lin, If you kill him, I won't be able to declare the Emperor's decree. You can't bear the consequences of this. You're offending the Emperor's might. Are you trying to rebel against the Immortals? This royal envoy had only one mission in his life, to deliver the Imperial decree. He never imagined that his one and only experience would turn into such a situation. As a royal envoy, he had seen many powerful beings in Central Continent, but he had never encountered anyone as arrogant as Wang Lin, who dared to kill under the Emperor's decree. You're doomed. If you do this, you're doomed. The royal envoy roared in fury, his body glowing with golden light. A massive golden seal appeared outside his body, and with a strange howling sound, it shot toward Wang Lin, who was about to devour the Dao demon sect patriarch. At this moment, the patriarch's divine soul, drawn in by Wang Lin's devouring force, was now less than 100 feet away. He struggled helplessly, unable to escape, and let out a final desperate howl. The royal envoy's attack immediately made the already desperate Dao demon sect patriarch struggle even harder. To survive, he would need external help. The golden seal howled as it descended, ready to crush Wang Lin. In the instant before it struck, Wang Lin's eyes glowed coldly. He spun around, and golden light burst from his eyes with the force of a tidal wave. The golden light contained fragments of the immortal extreme sword and a power that could suppress heaven and earth. In that instant, his eyes unleashed a destructive force. Get lost. If you try to stop me, no matter who you are, I'll still kill you today. The golden seal, which was almost upon him, was struck by Wang Lin's gaze and made a terrible sound as it stopped mid-air, as if a formless power had struck it, preventing it from advancing. The royal envoy, seeing Wang Lin's suppressive gaze, felt his mind explode in shock. His face turned pale, and his scalp tingled as he sensed a tremor-inducing pressure. Such a gaze, such authority, and such suppression could only be felt from the immortal emperor himself. Though Wang Lin could not compare to the emperor, in this moment, the royal envoy felt as if he was facing the emperor. He dared not advance. He had no choice but to retreat. As he did, the Dao demon sect patriarch was completely despairing. He watched helplessly as his divine soul was being pulled into Wang Lin's mouth, shrinking rapidly from 100 feet to less than 30 feet. Just as it was about to be swallowed whole, his expression turned wild. You want me dead? Then you will die with me. Messenger, read the decree. I, the patriarch of the Dao demon sect, must hear the emperor's decree before I die. He chose not to self-destruct, but to have the royal envoy read the emperor's decree, ensuring that Wang Lin's act of killing would be solidified, causing Wang Lin trouble in the future. He was willing to die to make that happen. With a sharp, desperate cry, the Dao demon sect patriarch's divine soul was pulled to within a foot of Wang Lin and was rapidly absorbed by him. Let's die together. The royal envoy in the sky, whose mission was to deliver the decree, immediately opened the imperial edict without hesitation, his voice carrying the emperor's command. The bloodline of the immortal ancestor, passed down today. The patriarch of the Dao demon sect of Green Devil Continent. You have greatly offended the royal family. You dared to plot against the royal family alongside the Green Demon's remnants. If you are still alive, both you and the Dao demon sect shall destroy yourselves before my decree. If you are dead, and the one who kills you is Wang Lin, then Wang Lin shall receive the decree and come meet me in Central Continent. I, the Emperor, have never forgotten the kindness of Dao Fei toward you. The royal envoy, reciting the decree, quickly broke out in sweat. Before meeting the person to whom the decree was to be delivered, he could not open the imperial edict. This was also the first time he had seen the content of the decree, and after reading it, he stood there, stunned. He was already in such a state. Needless to say, the patriarch of the Dao demon sect, upon being completely devoured by Wang Lin, heard the contents of the decree and felt his vision black out. Moments later, Wang Lin opened his eyes. With a flick of his sleeve, a deafening sound echoed from the ground. The half-destroyed lake and the island were swept away by an invisible storm, turning into a complete wasteland. The Dao demon sect had collapsed. In the golden light of the sky, the royal envoy stood awkwardly, only to see Wang Lin open his eyes. He clasped his fists with a bitter smile. Daoist Wang, please don't blame me. This I never expected the contents of the Imperial Edict to be like this. Had I known, I would have joined you in killing this traitor. Wang Lin's expression remained calm as he looked at the royal envoy. He did not speak. In fact, he too was quite shocked by the content of the decree, especially the last few sentences, which mentioned his connection to Lin Daofei. The madman's real name is Lin Daofei. When I first opened my storage space years ago, he and the silver-clad woman were both sucked into the void by a shattered space, and I lost track of them. This madman often calls himself this king, and I have heard a little from Master Xin Luo about him. His older brother is the Immortal Emperor. Could it be that the Immortal Emperor found the madman, and after he awoke, he told the Emperor about my connection with him? Wang Lin mused, while the royal envoy, trembling in fear, bitterly cursed the dead patriarch of the Dao Demon sect. That damn Dao Demon sect patriarch, you should have just died quietly. Now you've dragged me into this. Had I known, I would have finished reciting the edict before getting involved in Wang Lin's massacre. What is Wang Lin's true identity? The Immortal Emperor spoke to him with such a tone. Regarding Lin Daofei's debt. Lin Daofei, prince of the Lin family, woke up 30 years ago. Could it be? The royal envoy's pupils constricted, and he quickly dispelled any thoughts about this matter. He knew there were things not meant for him to know or guess. Wang Lin's cultivation is so high, and with that, he must have caught the Immortal Emperor's attention. Sigh. This situation needs to be quickly mended. The royal envoy thought, and a respectful smile appeared on his face as he repeatedly bowed to Wang Lin. Taoist Wang, please forgive me. I was truly confused earlier. This Dao Demon sect patriarch deserved to die. As he spoke, the royal envoy observed Wang Lin's expression. Seeing that Wang Lin paid him no mind and still had a gloomy look, he felt a pang of anxiety. This is bad. He must still be upset about my earlier actions. If he says something in front of the Immortal Emperor, Sweat began to bead on the royal envoy's forehead, and as the wind blew, it felt icy cold. Hee, Taoist Wang, I have some local specialties from the Central Plains. Since this is our first meeting, please accept this small gift as a token of respect. Despite the pain in his heart, the royal envoy hurriedly took out a jade slip and, with the Imperial Edict, respectfully handed it to Wang Lin. Wang Lin, still contemplating the cause and effect of the situation, looked up when he heard the envoy's words. He took the edict but did not look at it. Instead, he focused on the jade slip. His divine sense swept over it, and while his expression remained calm, his heart stirred. The jade slip did not contain any written content, but rather seemed to function as a storage space, filled with a large number of spirit stones imbued with immortal energy. After storing the jade slip, Wang Lin coldly glanced at the royal envoy, without saying a word. Under Wang Lin's gaze, the royal envoy felt a pang of regret. Gritting his teeth, he waved his right hand, producing a jade vial. A faint smile appeared on his face despite the immense pain. I almost forgot. There's another specialty from the Central Plains. It's nothing too precious, but please, Taoist Wang, do accept. With that, he once again respectfully handed the vial to Wang Lin. After receiving the vial, Wang Lin, still under the royal envoy's gaze, swept his divine sense over it. Inside the vial were numerous healing pills, many of which were quite rare. Ordinary cultivators would have difficulty obtaining them, and only someone like the royal envoy could acquire them in the Central Plains. Having given two large gifts, the royal envoy felt his heart ache, but noticed that Wang Lin's expression seemed to soften slightly. He sighed in relief. However, even so, Wang Lin's cold gaze lingered after he looked at the pills, still fixed on the royal envoy. Once again, the royal envoy felt his heart twist. Too greedy. This. The royal envoy had no choice but to put on a smile, and his right hand trembled slightly. Gritting his teeth, he took out another jade slip, forcing a smile as he handed it to Wang Lin. In the capital city of the Central Plains, I also have a property, he said, his heart aching as he handed the jade slip to Wang Lin. Upon receiving the jade slip, Wang Lin slowly revealed a smile. His smile caught the attention of the Imperial envoy, who immediately let out a deep sigh of relief. Lord Envoy, there's no need to be polite. Since these Central Plains specialties aren't valuable items, I won't refuse them, Wang Lin said, his tone casual. Yes, they're nothing valuable. The Imperial envoy replied, feeling a dull ache in his chest as he bitterly smiled. Since you're here in the Green Devil continent, you must have passed through the Heavenly Bull continent. How is the war there? Wang Lin asked slowly. There are 3 Imperial decrees this time. 1 each for the Great Soul sect of the Heavenly Bull continent and the Unity sect. The war should be over by now, and everyone is likely returning to their sects. The Imperial envoy responded without hesitation. Is Dao Fei also in the Imperial city? Wang Lin put away the jade slip, casually shifting the topic. Prince Dao Fei has been in the Imperial city ever since he woke up. It's said that he wants to leave, but the Immortal Emperor has not allowed him. The Imperial envoy said, recounting rumors. Oh, I have some past dealings with Dao Fei. I once did him a favor. Wang Lin smiled. The Imperial envoy immediately nodded, as he had noticed this when issuing the decree. Hearing it directly from Wang Lin confirmed his suspicion. Dao Fei's character. Sigh. It's been a long time since I last saw him. Is he still the same as before? Wang Lin shook his head, sighing lightly. Prince Dao Fei. The Imperial envoy hesitated, but recalling the contents of the Imperial decree and Wang Lin's previous words, he continued. With my status, I cannot see Prince Dao Fei, but I've heard in whispers that after he woke up 30 years ago, his character has changed somewhat, but sometimes he's still the same as before. The Imperial envoy spoke slowly, as though considering his words. Wang Lin's heart stirred, and he smiled without saying anything further. The Imperial envoy, seeing this, immediately understood and cupped his fists, bowing to Wang Lin. Daoist Wang, this Imperial decree can be used for teleportation. It's a long way to the Central Plains, requiring 8 teleports to reach. I must return to report, so I won't be traveling with you. Once I reach the Imperial city, I will definitely come to meet you. The Imperial envoy said with a smile, excusing himself quickly, eager to leave. He feared staying too long might upset Wang Lin, causing him to face the not valuable items insult again. Once the Imperial envoy left, Wang Lin's smile immediately faded, replaced by a dark, gloomy expression. He didn't leave the ruins of the Dao demon sect, but instead sat cross-legged on a piece of green stone, his gaze flickering. Even Dao Fei, his greed and many negative thoughts were all devoured by the Heavenly Dao's heavenly fate child back then. Logically, he should be very different from before. The Imperial envoy's words also hint at this, saying his character has changed. I just don't know what kind of change it's become. Wang Lin furrowed his brows, looking up at the now pitch-black sky, continuing to contemplate. However, if he really changed his character, why has it taken 30 years for the Immortal Emperor, his elder brother, to issue this decree? If he truly wanted to thank me, 30 years ago, I was enduring pain and fate in that Scorpion Temple. The contents of the Imperial decree are quite interesting. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a cold glint. He raised his right hand and suddenly waved toward the dark distance. A gust of black wind howled away, followed by several sharp, miserable screams before falling silent. Wang Lin's heart was ruthless. Once he decided on something, he acted decisively. Since he was determined to annihilate the entire Dao demon sect, he would not spare the remnants of the Dao demon sect heading toward the Heavenly Bull continent. The first to return were the high-ranking cultivators, who had used the teleportation array at great cost to arrive early. Wang Lin remained here not only to wait for them to return, but also to wait for one person. The ancestor of the Dao demon sect should be on his way. This person possesses heavenly venerable cultivation. To truly destroy the Dao demon sect's lineage, he must die. Even if I don't seek trouble with him, he will certainly hold a grudge and come after me. Heavenly Venerable. I wonder how it would be with the Heavenly Venerable after I were the soul armor? Wang Lin sat on the green stone, looking into the distance. Once I've dealt with the Dao demon sect, I have 2 choices. Either I go to the Donglin sect and enter the Donglin pool to see if my other origins can materialize a true form. Or, I go to the Central Plains and see what kind of dangerous place it is. Does Dao Fei still remember me? What exactly does his elder brother, the Immortal Emperor, have in mind? But my master once said that among the Immortal clan, there are 5 great heavenly venerables, and the Immortal Emperor Lian Daozhan is one of them. Going there might be dangerous. Wang Lin closed his eyes and fell into silence in the black night. 5 continents away from the Green Devil Continent's Dao Demon sect, a long rainbow streaked through the sky at incredible speed. Within that rainbow, there was an elderly man with red hair. His face was calm, but his eyes were filled with a burning fury. In an instant, the heavens and earth trembled. He vanished from a distant teleportation array with a tremendous cost, exchanging immense energy for the power of teleportation. He headed straight for the distant land, one continent after another. He was none other than the heavenly venerable ancestor of the Green Devil sect, under the command of Dao, Grand Heavenly Venerable.